Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 86 of the Best Day Ever Crafting Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome. And if this is your very first time here, then an extra special welcome to you. This is just the place where I share all of my crafting endeavors and celebrate with you all the reasons why creating, crafting, making every day makes for the best day ever. My name is Trish, and I can be found on Instagram and Ravelry as Tie-Dye Diva. You can also find me on Instagram as _fibertree, and that is where I share lots of content about planning, journaling, and other paper crafts. So on today's episode, I will share some progress on my projects in knitting, primarily, a little bit of spinning, some paper crafting, and of course, I do have some acquisitions since the last time we chatted. And let's see what else. And a little bit of, we can sit and knit together for a little bit towards the end as I give you just a brief life update. So I hope you all are doing well. For those of you who, if this is your very first time here, I live in the state of Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C., which means that spring is somewhat in full effect here. Yesterday, it was close to 80 degrees, which was absolutely beautiful. Air quality, not so much. Lots of pollen, lots of allergy issues and things, but the warmth was just really, really nice. Felt really nice to have the warm sun on my skin. And today, however, it's not even going to get to 60 degrees. So, weather's still up and down. I think spring has sprung, but we're just not quite there yet. So anywho, you didn't come here to get a weather forecast. You want to see what I've been working on, right? So let's get right to it. So first of all, for finished objects, I did finish a pair of socks, and I've been sharing these on the past couple episodes. This pattern is by Kay Litton, also known as the Crazy Sock Lady, and this is her just basic magic loop sock pattern. I can never remember the exact name of it, but it will be in the show notes, which will be in the Ravelry group, and there will be a link to all of that in the description box below. But I was able to finish them, and here they are. So beautiful. So the yarn that I use for these is by Earth Yarns, URTH. If I'm not mistaken, they are out of, I almost want to say Turkey is where this yarn is manufactured. It's an absolutely beautiful yarn, and I wish I had the leftovers with me. I think I threw them in my bag with my granny stripe blanket, because I'll be using the leftovers in that. But just a really beautiful yarn. It has an interesting twist, lightly plied, super soft, and I just love the dye job on this. So it's almost like a double gradient. So this royal purple went into a lighter purple, and there you can see the reds and the other shades of blues and purple in between. And then this green here turned into this beautiful yellow at the end. So just a lovely yarn, really, really nice to work with. What else can I say? I remembered to turn my heel in these socks. Remember a few episodes back, I had knit a whole sock and didn't realize until I had bound off that I never turned the heel. So anywho, the heel is turned. I really, really love them. These will be for me. I was gonna say something else. Oh, I was able, without a lot of effort, to actually get these to match up pretty good. I don't really have a system for getting my socks to match. I just try to remember how much of the, how much tail I left behind on the first sock. I didn't measure it, I just did it by memory. So pretty proud of that, the way these turned out. Do you have a method for making sure your striped socks match? Does it matter to you that much that they match? Let me know in the description box below. But yes, really, really loving these. In the pattern, I believe there are 4 different sizes, with a 56 stitch sock being the smallest, and that's what I did. My friend Stacy, she says I knit baby socks because my feet, she thinks my feet are small. I don't think they're all that small. I wear a size 8, US size 8 shoe, medium width, and the 56 count seems to fit me pretty good. I feel like when I go up to 64, they're really loose and kind of difficult to put in my shoes. So the 56 count seems to work really, really well with a variety of sock yarns. So I think that's all I have to share about these. I would definitely use this yarn again. I have one more set. The way this yarn comes is 2 separate balls, which is really nice. For their striping yarn, if you are really interested in having your stripes match. The other one I have is orange. It's a Gigi made it inspired color. So I look forward to getting those on the needles soon as well. So yeah, another sock for my sock collection down. Very happy about that. Finished object number 2 is my Saturday shrug. And here it is. Try to bring it a little close. I'm not looking at the camera, so I'm hoping that it's picking it up pretty clearly. So I think I have, do I have 9 stripes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yes, 9 stripes all total. So the Saturday Shrug is a pattern by Jackie Rose. She is one half of the Caddy Jacks podcast. And this pattern has taken the knitting community by storm. It is so simple, but it is also, it can be a very elegant knit depending on what yarns you use, what colors you use, the way you style it. It's a very enjoyable knit. It's a 1x1 rib, and you wouldn't think you would enjoy a 1x1 rib for an entire project, but it's very rhythmic. You can really get into the rhythm of it, and I just found it to be immensely enjoyable. I've said this so many times on this podcast that I really like really simple patterns and let the beautiful yarns speak for themselves in the project. So this is a really good example of that. I used a variety of different yarns from different dyers in this project. So instead of boring you with all the details, You can get that on my Ravelry page for the project. I have all the yarns listed that I used. And I really enjoyed this. Now, if you recall, I did make when the pattern first came out, I made a Saturday shrug, but my yarn choice wasn't the best. I used an acrylic wool blend, and because of that acrylic, I think it was about a 50-50 blend, but that acrylic didn't really allow this the fabric to stretch as much as this does. So the pattern is made for this to be worn over your neck and down over your shoulders. So it almost feels like a hug. So I don't even know if I would classify this as a shrug necessarily, but that's what the pattern is called. And you've seen the pictures. Now, Jackie is a very slim woman, and I'm not. So, and the first one that I did not change the stitch count. I was hoping and just assumed that it was going to at least stretch to fit over my shoulders, and it did not. So with this one, I decided to cast on an additional 20 stitches, and I can't remember what the called for stitch count is, but I did add another 20 stitches. And in addition to that, all of these yarns are 100% wool. They are all held with a mohair, and the mohair is what's giving you can see the beautiful halo throughout this whole pattern. So someone had asked me a question here on YouTube about the yarns to use for a Saturday shrug. And my best advice is to just make sure you're using 100% wool yarn. The mohair held with it is not necessarily important to make it, but to me it just adds just another layer of just beauty and elegance to this. And if you are a larger person like I am, then you can always adjust how many stitches you cast on so that it will fit down and over your shoulders. Let's see what else. So because I cast on more stitches, what I do find when I put this down over my shoulders is that I have a lot of fabric up here around my neck, which I'm fine with that. But if you think that's going to bother you, you can do a couple of things. You can adjust your stitch count, so you can start out with the original amount of stitches and then gradually increase to the amount that you need to cover your shoulders. Or you can adjust your needle size. So say, for example, if this is the top of the shrug, you can start out with a smaller needle, which will cinch those stitches in, and then gradually increase the needle size as it comes down over your shoulders. So I'm going to insert a picture of me wearing the Saturday shrug right here. So as you can see, it definitely fits over my shoulders. However, I don't know if I will be wearing it that way because I don't necessarily, I don't like being constricted like that. Maybe on a really cool day, it might be okay, but I will most likely wear mine more so as a cowl. Maybe I'll put it over one shoulder and wear it like this. So, there's so many options you can do with this, but it's just so beautiful. You can play with your colors. You can do, this is also great as a stash buster. And I think that's why this pattern has just had so much appeal, because it's so versatile. It is so versatile, so lovely. And it feels good. It feels, whether you wear it on your shoulders or whether you wear it as a cowl, it just feels like a warm hug. So, but I will most likely be wearing it like this Maybe I'll have a little bit covering my shoulders and then put a coat on. So this should be super, super cozy in the winter time. And I can also see myself just throwing this in my a tote bag if we're going out to dinner and I know the restaurant's going to be cold. So very, very versatile. This is my second, as I mentioned. It will not be my last. So highly, highly recommend this Saturday Shrug. Use it as a stash buster. There are many yarn dyers who have kits, including the Lamb and Kid. I believe Sonder Yarn has a kit. But I knit mine mostly from stash. I'm very, very happy to say. So yeah, this is the Saturday Shrug by Jackie Rose. Love it, love it, love it. Ooh, I feel like I had a lot to say about the Saturday Shrug today. So let's move on into works in progress. These are the things I've been working on since the last time I recorded. Let's start out with a new pair of socks. So my tradition is usually, as soon as I finish one pair of socks, I try to get another pair of socks on the needles. And this pair of socks is hanging out in this adorable project bag by the Lakeside, who is Sandy, who also has a podcast, By the Lakeside. So this is the progress on my next pair of socks. Of course, these will be for me. I don't know, I possibly could gift them to my sister too, so we'll see. So I've got quite a bit of progress done on sock number 1. I've already done the heel, flap, and gusset, and I remembered to turn the heel. So this is also the same pattern by Crazy Sock Lady. Just her basic toe up magic loop sock pattern. The yarn that I'm using is by Chelsea Luxe. And the base is called, hold on, Coupe Socks. This is her Coupe sock base. It's 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon, and it's 400 yards. And that is what it looks like in the ball. So, so pretty. If this doesn't say spring, I don't know what does. So really, really enjoying these. I don't know why I feel like I'm using a lot of this yarn with this pair of socks. So I've been toying with the idea of doing the heel in a different color, maybe in a pretty spring green, like you see there. So we'll see. Oh, maybe a yellow or a gold. So we will see. Let me know what you think. If I were to do the toe in a different color, which color would you suggest out of all of the beautiful colors in this sock? This base is so enjoyable to work with. It is super squishy, and it has a really nice twist. I don't even know if this is going to, yeah, it shows up pretty good, but really, really, really springy and enjoyable to work with. So I'm going to be hooking up with some friends on Zoom later, and this is probably what I'll be working on when I chat with them on Zoom. So another pair of socks in the making, and I'm knitting these on a US 1 2.25 millimeter, I believe, needle, which is my standard go-to. Again, 56 stitches on a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle. So making good progress with that. I've also picked up a project again that you have seen before. I put it down to work on other things, and I picked it back up because I really want this finished object. So I made quite a bit of progress, and this is my Second Avenue shawl, which is a pattern by Amy Miller. So I've got quite a bit done. This is where I started with this scalloped edge that you can't really see too good because it's kind of curled up, but it should flatten out once I block it. So it starts out with this solid section, then it goes into some striping, and then another solid section, and then an eyelet section, which I really, really enjoy doing. That was followed by this section here, which is some knits and just some horizontal ribbing. And now I'm working on this black, and that's going to be the same as this gold. So the black is going to be an eyelet section, but just not as deep as the gold. So I think the last time we chatted, I was about here, maybe not even that far. So I've made quite a bit of progress on this shawl. I think it's absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite shawl designs to make and wear. It's just so versatile. I know it's going to fit over my larger frame, over and around. I can also wear it as a scarf, doubled. So really, really looking forward to having this. And again, this is one of those projects. I don't reserve it for the winter. I try to always have something warm to wrap up in with me all year long, because you just never know what the temperature is going to be. So very, very happy about that. I have used a variety of yarns in this. All of them are fingering. I've got some Plucky, I've got some Hue Loco, some Dapper, Dye Works, just a variety of yarns. Those will be listed on my project page on Ravelry, instead of listing every single one of them here. And this is being knit on a US 6 needle. Yes, a US 6, and these are, I think these are my Knit Picks options needles, I believe. If that's incorrect, I will put a correction right here, but I'm pretty sure these are from the Knit Picks options, and they're nickel plated. Sorry, I had to pause because just as I was sitting here talking, Cashmere grabbed one of the strings of yarn and tried to run with it. Then of course it got caught in his leg, and life with Cashmere. So mischievous. He waits good and well until he knows I'm distracted, and then he tries to grab the yarn, and sometimes he gets off a pretty good distance with it. And I think he knows I'm not able to run fast enough to catch up with him, so he takes advantage of that. Gotta love him. So the last work in progress I'm going to share with you is the progress on my Zoe cardigan, which is a pattern by Cocoa Knits. So, oh, you know what? I am in the middle of a row, and a few stitches have just popped off of the needle. So hold on 1 second while I fix this. You know, the crazy thing is I just purchased some of the Cocoa Knits stitch, what do you call them? You know what? I had them right on the table, but I hid them because that's another thing that Cash had got to them. I set them in a nice little container on my table, and Cashmere jumped on the table and knocked them over, and they were everywhere. So I moved them off of the table, and I can't remember where I moved them to. So I'm going to have to look for those today, because I definitely need them. So anyway, this is, I want to make sure I got these stitches on here correctly and none are dropped. Hold on, I've got one that I see did drop. Hold on, let me pick up this. Okay, all right. Normally, I never stop in the middle of a row when I put a project down, but I ran out of yarn. So, and I have yet to ball up my next hank of yarn. So I'm going to try to show this to you as best as I can without dropping stitches again. Just bear with me 1 second. I want to get this in a way where it will make sense. Okay. So the cocoa knit method is basically a really interesting technique for knitting a sweater top down. So this is the progress I've made thus far. It's going to be so hard to show you the details because everything now just looks like a blob. But this is the shoulder seam. And it's not even a seam. I would say it's a faux seam. Hold on, let me get my hand in here. So, of course, that's repeated on both sides. And that shoulder seam kind of like sits to the back. So it's not like directly on in the middle of your shoulder. Let me hold it. So if I hold it right here this way, you can kind of see what I mean, hopefully you can see where that shoulder seam is, where I'm like moving my hand. And this is the sleeve here. I don't know if this is going to show up either, but the sleeve increases are done by knit into the front and into the back, of course, on both sides. And yeah, that looks pretty good. You can see that. And let me turn it back around to the front. And the front opening is right here. So the pattern gave you the option to, well, you already have to do some increases at one point in the pattern to create more width for the fronts. It also gave you the option to add on even more stitches to have even more width in the front. And so I decided to do that. I believe I added an extra 8 stitches on each front. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that I was able to close my cardigan completely. It doesn't have any buttons, but my hope is that once I get it on, it will just lay flat across the girls, and it won't be flapping open. And I am a bit concerned I added on too many extra stitches, in which case it may cause the fronts to like flap over. But we'll see. We will see. This was a challenge for me, this sweater pattern. Not that it was difficult, it was just new. It was definitely new to me techniques. I'm used to doing either yoke construction sweaters or top-down raglan sweaters. Sorry, I'm taking a look at, just make sure Cash is not wreaking havoc somewhere. Cash, here's your ball. Cashmere. So, it challenged me to really step out of my comfort zone and do something different. And I'm just so glad that I did. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the process. I love the yarn is absolutely beautiful. It is by Miss Babs. And this is a Maryland sheep and wool color from, hold on, I've got a skein right here. This is Maryland Sheep and Wool 2020, and the color is Exuberance. How gorgeous is that? So if you got the purples, the blues, the greens, the yellows, again, very, very springy. I just love those speckles, those blue speckles. So I have about 6 more rows to do before all of my increasing is complete. And then I think I knit a few more rows straight before I divide for the sleeves and body. And then I can decide whether or not I'm going to do pockets, because it does call for pockets. And oh man, I wish I had my Cocoa Knits book close by. It must be in the room. let's see here. No, I'm pretty sure I didn't put it away. I didn't even talk about my new setup. So, have totally rearranged things in the craft room, as you can see, and it's still not quite 100%. I would say I'm about 80% there. So once it's all done, and if it looks presentable, I'll just do a quick video and show you the whole thing. But
I'm not sure I understand.
Sorry, I had to pause again. My watch decided it wanted to talk to me out of the blue. Anywho, technology, right? Anywho, again, the Zoe sweater by Coco Knits. Really enjoying it a lot, and I'm knitting it on a US 8 needle. These are my Diacraft needles. And another thing that I think is really great is that I've only used one hank of this for this entire, almost the entire top part of the sweater is done, and I'm just about to go into hank number 2. So I think I'm going to have plenty to finish it. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm running short, I could possibly do a gradient towards the bottom of the sweater and sleeves, or some color blocking. I've got some options, so I'm not going to stress out too much about that. Okay, so I'll show you my spinning. Not a lot in spinning. I was able to complete this beautiful hank of yarn. This was spun from a Knit Spin Farm bat, and there's so many different fibers in here. I think there's some alpaca, there's some silk, there's some merino, there's some stellina, just a lot of different things in this skein. I'm trying to find a spot where the stellina is very subtle. So it's probably, there's a spot there, but it's probably not going to show up. So, I mean, that beautiful pop of blue right there is so lovely. There it is. So, I think if I had to guess, I would say this, because it's very thick and thin, I would say it's about between a sport and a DK weight, maybe even some fingering in some spots. So what I'm thinking I want to do with this is make a pair of fingerless mitts, just a really simple pair of fingerless mitts. I've already made one pair of fingerless mitts with some less than perfect hand spun. This is from my earlier spinning days, and those mitts are so warm and so cozy. And honestly, once I knitted up, you couldn't even tell that some parts were overspun and that it was thick and thin. So that is my goal with these, to make another pair of fingerless mitts for the fall and winter. So again, Knit Spin Farm. This was from her monthly bat club. I'm no longer a part of the club. I almost want to say it was from August 2022. But really pretty. So the other, my next spin project is already in progress, and it is the Nest Fiber Club December 2022 color, which is Andromeda. And I've already got about a quarter of that spun and on the needles. This is so pretty. Not on the needles, on the wheel. Oh boy. Yeah, look how gorgeous this is. And this is 100% Tarhi. Yep, 100% Tarhi wool. So really pretty. Really enjoying it. This is so soft. Super soft. No particular spinning technique with this. I just split it in half, and then I split it each half into 3 sections, and that's what I did to each one. So I definitely wouldn't call this a fractal spin. I'm really just spinning from end to end, but I still do expect some really nice barber combings to go on with this skein. So hopefully in another couple of weeks when I record again, I will have this finished skein to show you. Yes, Cash. Here's your ball. You want your ball? And don't make too much noise when I throw it, okay? There you go. So that takes us into acquisitions. I feel like we're moving pretty good. Let me take a quick peek at my my notes to make sure that I got everything. So I got my whips, 2 finished objects. Oh, let's talk a little bit of paper crafting before we go into acquisitions. So I am still working in my creative journal, which I don't even think I've shown this to you. This is my creative journal for 2023. And this cover is by Hobonichi. I believe it's a Hobonichi cover. Yes, it is a Hobonichi cover. So this journal, it's a pretty basic journal in that it is dot grid. Hopefully you can see the dots, which I really love for writing because I need to have lines or something, or otherwise I cannot write straight without them. So it's really nice to have those grids. If you're placing other elements that are horizontal or vertical, you can use those grid lines to line everything up really nicely. It's this paper, as you can hear it, it's very substantial. It's 160 GSM, which I think is it's really high quality, really high quality. I've got it stands up to water pretty good, not too much. I don't think I've done any watercolor in here yet, but with some gesso as a primer, you could totally put watercolor on these pages. So I've mostly just used it for distress inks, distress oxide inks. There's a lot of collage journaling going on in this book. This is a page I actually finished last night, just piddling around. I don't know whether you can see that, but it says, if you're going to rise, you might as well shine. And I really like that. Because I'm home quite a bit because I work from home 4 days a week. I only have to be physically in the office 1 day. So I'm really working on when I rise. Very rarely will I stay in pajamas, but I can get really casual. I mean, casual to the point that if somebody knocked on my door, I'd have to change clothes real quick. So I'm working on, getting up, putting on a little bit of makeup, doing my skincare routine, putting on some earrings, some jewelry, making sure my hands are moisturized, and, just because I'm home by myself doesn't mean I can't shine. So I really like that. If you're going to rise, you might as well shine. And this spread here was done. Let me see if you can see that. I don't know if that's going to come through clear enough. So this spread here was done leading up to the anniversary of my sister's death, which was April 1st. So I just put that pretty flower in the middle and just did some writing. And the elements that are on this page are cutouts from this paper here, which actually was some packing paper from an order. And I can't remember who I ordered from, but I ordered some journaling supplies from a company, and I just cut out some of the butterflies and a bird, and that made for a really pretty spread. And I just covered this entire page with the paper, and I put a little bit of washi tape So yeah, just some really, really simple things I've been doing in my journal. I mean, on this page, I literally just laid down a piece of fabric washi, put a quote off to the side, and then did my journal writing around it. So it's been quite a while, I know, since I have put some journaling content on the channel, and I hope that will be changing very, very soon. So I've been making some changes that we will chat about in as we sit in it together. Another thing I finished, this was a project prompt from the Journal with Purpose Patreon. And I believe, so it wasn't from March. I think it was from the February challenge, which was to create an accordion book. So I ended up getting sick in the end of February, and I wasn't quite able to finish this, but I picked it back up again and finally finished it. So basically, either side can be your front. But let's just say if this was the front. If this was the front. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There we go. Then you could open to the next pages. And then that would be the back page. Or if you decided to use this as the front page, then you could open it up here and here, and then that would be your back page. Come on, focus, focus, focus. So this was a really, really fun project. I've got some cutouts on here, some stamping, some quotes. And I really, really, really enjoyed this. If this is something you think you'd like me to do a tutorial on YouTube, let me know. Because like I said, I definitely want to add quite a bit more journaling content to the channel in the upcoming weeks. So happy I was able to finish that. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to place this in my junk journal. And I could also just place it in the journal I just showed you. So who knows? I'll try, once it has its final resting place, I'll try to show it to you again so you can see how you can use something like this in one of your journals or even in just a notebook. This particular little accordion book, it just has lots of positive quotes. Stay strong. And so the adventure begins. And I really love this. This is a die cut that was gifted to me by my dear friend Steph. Hey, Stephanie. And it says, let your faith be bigger than your fears. I have another quote here that says, live, create, tell the story, choose to see the good stuff. You are stronger than you think. And one of my favorite biblical quotes, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. So you can use stamps, you can use stickers, you can use, things that you find just in your everyday packaging. That's another video I would love to do. I would love to do a video that shows how you can just use everyday things for journaling, like packing paper, quotes from magazines, just things you have just laying around the house, just repurposing them for your journaling. So I think that would also be a really fun video to do. Okay, so I feel like I'm rambling on. Oh, so one more thing in paper crafting. I did start a new journal, which is my favorite quotes journal. And so this is the front of that journal, which is also one of my favorite biblical quotes. It says, like apples of gold in silver carvings is a word spoken at the right time. And so I just thought that was perfect for the front of this journal, since it is going to be a favorite quotes journal, so I'm working through this journal as well. There's another page. Another 2 pages, I should say. So just having a lot of fun with this. And this is a traveler's size notebook. It's a really, really nice size. You know, not too much, not too big, not too little. And, you know, for quotes, this journal layout just works really, really well. So a new journal, favorite quotes journal. So as I make progress in that, I will share that with you. Okay, now let's get to acquisitions. How is it possible we're at 46 minutes already? So I caved again in Amy Beth's shop. She gets me every time. So this is my new Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. It's so pretty. That doesn't speak spring. I don't know what does. So I can never remember her sizes. It did come with a nice little strap. I think is this the Erin size? It's not the sweater size, but it's definitely big enough for like if I was doing a fingering weight sweater for myself, would definitely be large enough. So loving that. Let's see, what else do we have in here? I did get the latest from Hypnotic Yarns and the Yarnable collection. So if you haven't opened yours yet, then you may want to turn away. But the color is Somebody Loves You. And I switched up to the DK weight because I have so much fingering weight already, and I really love knitting DK socks. So this is just so beautiful. Hopefully this is showing up. It's a purple base, and it's got golds and cream and black speckles. Really, really pretty. So I think this might be my next pair of DK weight socks. We'll see. I did decide to cancel my Yarnable subscription because I'm collecting more than I can get knit up. So I'm going to take a break from Yarnable, and maybe I'll get to join again in the future. I believe it's closed right now, but you can get on the wait list and you'll know when she has openings for her club again. Another yarn club I decided to try was the So Happy Jane yarn club. And this, I think I've gotten 2. I don't think I ever showed the first one I got. But this is from the April club, and the color is HDH. I'm not quite sure what reference that is from. And I also went with the DK weight for her yarn club. Look how beautiful that is. I'm just realizing there's some purples in here. I was just so fixated on the beautiful greens, but there is indeed some purple. So lovely. Really, really pretty. Really, really pretty. There was some other little fun things that came with this. Oh yeah, it was hold on, I gotta get that for you because it's so pretty. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Alrighty, so like Yarnable, she also includes some really, really nice goodies with her her subscription. And this month, it was this really cute tote. Look at that. And it says handmade happy. That pretty flower. It's a really nice substantial tote too. Made out of recycled cotton. I love the color because oftentimes when you get these bags, they're beige, which is really hard to keep clean. But I can totally see using this for a sweater project. This would even work for like a worsted weight sweater project. So really, really nice. Oh no, I'm looking at this. I may could put some gussets on this to make it sit a little bit flatter. So, it's giving me an idea. So yeah, love this. So it came with the tote, this cute little card here, and it's not just a note card. It is also, hold on, focus. Here we go. It's a project card. So I could easily put this in my my crafting journal, but I think I'm going to use it in my creative journal because I love this quote so much. It says, "Let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby." And that's by Langston Hughes, one of my favorite poets. So this will definitely be going into my creative journal. I cannot wait to build up around this. Maybe some blue and lavender stenciling, and I'm just going to sit it right in my journal. And I'm going to probably cover up that April, but maybe not. No, I'm going to keep it for April showers, right? So this is going to be something that gets in my journal really soon. Maybe I'll work on that this weekend. And then it included this cute little die cut sticker, which also says handmade happy. So I really, really love her yarn club. But I also, I got 2 installations of that, but I also canceled that one because again, I can only knit but so many socks at a time, right? And so I can always rejoin again, right? I had asked you guys about spinning resources, and thank you all so much for your response to that question and many other questions. I don't ask the questions randomly. I'm really, really looking for answers and assistance, and just want to know what other people are thinking and what other people's crafting styles are. So I really, really appreciate it when you respond to the questions. So one of my questions was, if you knew of any resources about spinning, in particular resources that that really talked about the yarn breed, the sheep breeds, and because as I'm spinning different yarns and different wools, I really want to know where they originated from. Are they crossed with something else? What's the characteristics of the wool? So Elizabeth, thank you, Elizabeth, recommended this book to me, which is called The Fleece and Fiber Source Book. This is by Deborah Robeson and Carol Icarius. And I have not had a chance to dig into this yet, but I definitely will. And I will be looking up Tarhi because that is what I am currently working on. So hopefully that is in this book. I'm almost sure it is. Yes, it's on page 307. The illustrations in this book are absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry, Cash is playing ball beside me, distracting me. There are maps in here that tells you where some of the wools are coming from. So it just gives you a really good point of reference when it tells you about, you know, where different breeds of wool come from. So, and this is a thick, chunky book, and it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful book, and I just cannot wait to get into this. And as I find information and I think you'd be interested, then I will be sharing that with you. I got another project bag. I'd almost forgotten I ordered this. So this was recommended by the Grocery Girls, and this is from Vinegar Wool Company. And how could I resist this? How cute is this? This is a really good size bag. This would easily work for a worsted weight sweater for myself. It doesn't have a lining. It doesn't have any pockets or anything, but it is made out of a really nice canvas, and all of the edges are finished. It's got a really nice sturdy zipper, and the sheep is just adorable. Absolutely adorable. And I believe the name of the sheep is Pearl, also known as Pearly Foot Stomp. And there's even a description of the sheep named Pearl. It says she's a sweet merino ewe whose soft fine wool is as white as snow. Some sheep will stomp their foot to let you know they are angry. Pearl likes to stomp her foot to let you know that it's time for an ear scratch. So how cute is that? So again, this is from Renegade Wool Company, and I will share the link to that. I had to pre-order it, and like I said, honestly, I forgot that I'd ordered it. So it took about a month to come, and I'm really happy. I really, really like that. Finally, I made a purchase from Little Knits. This purchase was inspired by the ladies of the Wine and Wool podcast, or is it Wool and Wine? I think it's the Wool and Wine podcast. I'm not going to try to remember their names because I don't want to leave anybody out, but I've talked about their podcast before. Really, really enjoyable podcast. They knit mostly sweaters. They do socks and shawls and things, but their sweater knitting is just so amazing. And one of the ladies knit a sweater using this yarn from Cascade Yarns. It's Eco Plus Hemp, and it is an 80% Highland wool, Peruvian Highland wool, and 20% hemp. So wool linen blend. How gorgeous is that? So I was able to get a sweater quantity from Little Knits. So I got 6 skeins total, and the total yardage for one skein is 328. So 3 times 6, so every bit of 1900 yards. Oh, this yarn feels so good. It doesn't feel like a Peruvian wool, which can sometimes feel a bit scratchy. And I would bet that this is very similar to the Pearl Soho linen twill, which I believe is also a wool and linen blend. So dollar for dollar, this is a steal. It is a real steal. And the sweater that she made out of this was just absolutely gorgeous. Very substantial. I would imagine it would be very warm, but possibly not too warm to wear in the spring, maybe as a cardigan, you know, with that 20% linen. So I don't have a pattern yet, but I'm really looking forward to using this soon. So I need to put that on my radar to pour me a cup of tea one day and to look for a pattern specifically for this yarn here, because it's gorgeous and I don't want it to just sit. So that's pretty much it in acquisitions. Let me put a few things back. Let me tidy up before we sit and knit together for a little while, because I feel like when we're sitting and knitting together, it's almost like you're in my home, and I would never dream of having you in my home and it's shabby. I would tidy up before you came. So there, I'm finished tidying up. So let's sit and knit together for a little while. What's been going on since I last recorded? If you you probably already know that I'm a week behind. I've been really busy. And also not really feeling that great. I've been in the middle of a flare this one's been lasting quite a bit of time. If you're new here, I deal with a couple of autoimmune illnesses that I talk fairly openly about. And on the last episode, we talked about dietary changes and other things as it relates to your health and things you can do to just make yourself feel a little bit better while you're dealing with some of these issues. So thank you all so much for your response to that question as well. So, but I'm doing okay. I'm just trudging along as usual, right? I had a really interesting thing to happen. About 2 weeks ago, my hands swole really, really badly. In particular, my ring fingers, my joints swole almost like overnight. Not even overnight. So, dressed to go to my place of worship one Wednesday evening. And when I got home that evening, and I just put my rings on before I left. But when I got home, I could not get the rings off. And there was no way I could, even if they were not budging. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was something I ate today. And next day, same thing. So anyway, this went on for a week, trying to get these rings off of my hand. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go to the emergency room to get these rings taken off my hand. So about 10 days later, I was able to get, maybe about a week later, I was able to get my wedding ring off, which I was really happy about because it was just gifted to me for our 35th wedding anniversary back in August. So I was able to get the wedding ring off, but I wasn't able to get the ring off on this finger, on this hand. So about another 5 days later, I realized that my hands were really starting to hurt under where the ring was. This ring I had on this finger was pretty wide band. So my finger is really sore under here. I really got to get this ring off of my fingers. But again, it wasn't budging. So a couple of days later, I went to work and I'm just like, how am I going to get this ring off my finger? And they keep our office so ridiculously cold. And you know what happens when it gets cold? Things start to, what's the word I'm looking for? Start to contract. And so I said, you know what? My hands are freezing. And I could even tell I had a little bit of wiggle room with the ring. Even though my finger joints were still swollen. So I went in the ladies' room and I soaped my hands up as best as I could with as much soap as I can. And I was finally able, with still quite a bit of struggle, to get the ring off of my finger. And I realized that the entire time that ring was on my finger, it was literally eating away at my fingers. So that took about a week to heal. I hope that's not gross to you guys. So I kind of feel like I might be developing a reaction to nickel. So since then, and it's been about 10 days since I took them off. The swelling has remained, and I'm still not able to fit my rings on my fingers. So I don't know if that's going to be a permanent thing as a result of the RA. I really hope not. But anyway, haven't been able to wear any rings. So I'll figure it out. I'll either get my new ring resized, or I might be gifting a lot of my rings to friends and family, especially if it's a nickel allergy. Who knows? So that was one thing, and I'll talk to my doctor about the joint swelling when I see her in a couple of weeks. What else has been going on? So the big announcement, and the reason I've been so busy the past couple of weeks and didn't record last week, is that I made the really difficult decision to close the Fiber Tree, which is my sticker and stationery shop. And I feel really bad because I wanted to announce it here to you guys first. I think I ended up announcing it on a Wednesday, which was the week I should have been recording. And the response was just so overwhelming because everything in the store is marked down to 50% off. So I ended up getting a ton of orders um, while not feeling well. And so I had to work my way through those orders and subsequent orders as the days went on. So there are still a few things left in the shop at 50% off. If you want to wait until Monday to shop, everything will be an additional 75% off. So just a heads up. If there's something you really want that you see, you may want to try to pick it up now, because I'm not sure if it's going to be available on Monday. So yeah, definitely take a look and see if there's something you want. So, I had to make that decision because as much as I would like to think that I could continue to run a small business while dealing with health issues, I had to be really realistic and with myself, and really be modest, and realize my limitations in what I'm actually able to do. There's no worse feeling than having that you're holding on to people's money and you're not able to fulfill an order because you don't feel well. And that was happening a lot. I would finish work and I just was wiped out. I could do nothing but just sit and maybe knit for a little bit. Just waiting for a flare to pass or a fatigue spell to pass. And that went on for several months. And so it finally got to the point where I had to say, if this isn't fun when you're forcing yourself to work when you don't feel well. And I also realized I wasn't giving my customers the quick service that they deserve. Once people give you their money, at least that's the way I am. I want to get out to them very quickly what they're expecting. So even though it was a hard decision, I know it was the right decision, and I feel like there's a weight that's been lifted off of me already. So yeah, that's my big news since we last had a chance to sit and knit together. Let's see what else has been going on. So of course, as soon as I decided to close the shop, we started having transmission issues with our car. So we knew we wanted to purchase another car this year, but we just weren't expecting for it to happen so soon. So it's still drivable. We try not to put too much pressure on it. So, we can still get to the grocery store and do things close to home. But I don't want to put it on the highway until we either get it fixed or I don't know, we may end up trading it in or selling it. So we'll see, but we're not pressing to make any decisions when it comes to purchasing a new car or a used car. We haven't had a car note in years. We paid this one off and it served us well. It has a little over 200,000 miles on it. It's a Lexus LS 460, I think. And that car has served us so well. So, part of it is that I've been spoiled driving this really nice car all these years. And, not having a car note all these years. So I just don't want to rush and buy just, any old thing, or just rush just so we can have a car. We live close to public transportation. We have lots of friends that live really close to us, so we can get to our place of worship. We can get to work. There's really no real urgency to purchase immediately. So, we're just, looking at what's out there, what kind of car do we want next, and but not pressed by any means. So we kind of had to have a pep talk with ourselves and say, okay, yes, the transmission is going out on this car, but let's not rush, let's not be rash, which is super important in this day and age because everything is so expensive. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, so that's what's been going on in the Bullock household. Super excited about spring. We need to get outside and do some putting up some weeds and laying down some landscaping paper and some mulch around our bushes. We've got a couple of hydrangea bushes that bloom so beautifully every year. So hopefully we can get outside and get that done. I've been doing quite a bit of purging and spring cleaning and just taking things to secondhand store and working in this room, trying to get this room organized. And I cannot thank my dear friends Stacy and Stephanie enough. They came in one Saturday and I thought we were just going to rearrange some things. We took every single thing out of this room and out of the closet, which is right in front. We reconfigured the way the big pieces of furniture were configured. So say, for example, this tall piece behind me, was laying horizontally on the other side of the room, just under the window. But Stephanie had the great idea to sit it up vertically on top of another piece that was exactly like this. So that has freed up so much space in this room. I cannot tell you. It's just amazing what having that extra space will do. And then another thing that we did is that the room is now divided off into sections. So my journaling table, which is like right in front of me, is right under the window, which is so lovely to be able to look out the window while I'm journaling or while I'm planning, or I even can work in here sometimes. So it's just really nice to have the window in front of me, which used to be behind me. What else did we do? We reconfigured the closet. So even though there's still quite a few things in the closet, it's just configured in a way where things are more accessible. And I still have to do a little bit more purging in the closet, especially the top of the closet, reconfiguring and reorganizing things. Once everything in the shop, the fiber tree, sells out, that will also create some space in here. This shelf right here, where you see all of this stuff, are all shop related things. So once I'm done with the shop, then that's going to free up some space where I can probably buy about a 4-shelf unit and sit it on top of this unit here. And that's going to create some more space for things. So it's just really nice. I can sit at my journaling table and I have things situated and organized in a way where I can easily reach for them. I don't have to get up and go to another room and find something, or it's been really nice. So I will definitely show it to you once it gets to a place where it's presentable to show. But I'm loving it so far. I actually love coming in here. And there's even room for my husband when he needs to come in and do some work. We've actually been in here together doing work. I've been fulfilling orders and he's been at the sewing table, which is just to my right here, with his computer doing work. So it's definitely enough room for the both of us to be in this room together, which is awesome. But I really love it. I think my favorite thing is that everything is sectioned off. So the paper crafting is here, the yarn is here, the sewing is here. And it just flows so beautiful. So that took a lot of physical energy to be able to do. I really stretched myself that day that they came over. And so what I've been trying to do is continue with that momentum, because I am a certified couch potato. I could sit and knit or crochet and read and watch TV. I could for hours, which is not good because my job is also sedentary. You know, I'm at a computer for 7 or so hours a day. So I got to figure out a way to get more movement into my day. And even though I was really sore and achy after we did that work, I realized it didn't kill me. I didn't have a heart attack or a stroke. I'm still here to tell the story. So I definitely want to, I don't want to say push myself, but I definitely want to challenge myself a little bit more to have a little bit more movement in my day. And I've been doing really good with that. And I want to keep that momentum going. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the life update. If again, there's something you want from the shop, head over. You don't need a coupon code. Everything will be marked down once you get to the checkout. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you are finding lots of joy in your making. Let me know what projects you're working on. Let me know if you have any answers to a couple of the questions I posed in this episode. And I will see you again in another